meaningful contact you got once you got back to the planet?
I think it was Buzz Aldrin. It was Buzz Aldrin. It was Buzz Aldrin.
The space tourism charade is being pushed big time at the moment. Later on today, Richard Branson launches in his Virgin space plane, supposedly to a height of approximately 55 miles. Then in 9 days' time, Jeff Bezos and his New Shepard rocket go even higher, over 60 miles. Virgin have got the accolade, if you like, of having the first female to fly commercial space. That was Beth Moses from a couple of years ago. Let me just refresh your memory if you don't remember that one. This is an article regarding Beth Moses, who was the first woman to fly commercially to space, 55 miles up. And there's a cracking promotion shot of Beth there, being blown away there by what she sees out the window. Again, very, very strange that Beth's not wearing any breathing apparatus whatsoever, and yet she's flying 3 times the height that the U-2 spy plane flies at, and we all know they need a spacesuit in case they lose cabin pressure. But no, Beth has a charade to sell, a product, a supposed product to sell, when essentially she's selling the lie of the globe. Hence we get this silly, over-the-top publicity shot. Otherwise, Beth would be looking something like this. The U-2 pilot in his spacesuit to protect him should he lose cabin pressure. But of course Beth is selling a product, so that's no good if you can't see her face. So she's exempt from dangerous situations. Clearly ridiculous. So, does Richard Branson and his Virgin rocket space plane provide anything else other than the usual tosh we've gotten used to over the last 7 years? Let's have a look.
Down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship.
Now I'm an adult in a high altitude 0G plane. Oh dear. Richard, you're going to have to put more crackle in your voice, and you're going to have to add a bit more polish to this performance, because you ain't convincing anyone. Your pals in the background are just giving this nonsense away anyway. Oh dear.
With lots of other wonderful adults looking down to our beautiful, beautiful Earth. For the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this...
I've got to pause it there, Richard. Just now we saw quite a large amount of curve. Now it would seem the Earth is concaved. So clearly the curvature, what we're seeing here, whether it be extreme or concave, is clearly optical and not physical. Otherwise the curve we'd see from your pantomime plane would kind of relate to each other. Not 1 minute a small amount of curve, then the next minute a gigantic bit of curve, then the very next minute concave Earth. Clearly ridiculous, Richard.
Just imagine what you can do. Hey! Come on out, Richard!
And then we go to that shot of curve, which, if my memory serves me correct, is about the same amount of curve James May sighted from the U-2 spy plane at 70,000 feet. Ridiculous. It's just a glammed up 0G plane. That's it. We've got good old Beth in the back there in her wide open, blown away pose that she likes to use. Her mouth is always open here for these publicity shots, as if to say, I'm blown away. But what we're seeing is just a 0G plane and ridiculous visuals. Ugh. Notice that window trim there seemed a bit loose. Fucking joke. We got Beth there with her mouth wide open, blown away. I wonder if her jaw ached after this promotion. The Earth's concaved, everyone. You gotta love good old Beth. Constantly got her mouth open here for these publicity shots. I mean, who looks like that? Even me looking out that window, I'm sorry, my mouth wouldn't be open like that. Ridiculous, particularly given the fact the Earth looks again slightly concaved. And then we come to the top two boys here. Hang on, let's come back a smidge. There they are. Motorbike hats, boiler suits, washing up gloves and Spitfire breathing apparatus. But bearing in mind, just behind them, all the people we've just seen jumping about in their zero-G plane haven't got protection. Just highlighting the absurdity of all this. I don't think they've gotten anywhere near as high as they say they have, just a bit higher than your average zero-G planes. And of course, given that, they get a little bit more zero-G time. That is all this is. Just a zero-G plane, glammed up, with a bit of space propaganda sprinkled on it. I'm very disappointed. I foolishly thought here that they might have upped their game and used this as a great opportunity to cite something that would give the space fans something to be proud of. But no, they've just dumped on the very people that have to defend this tosh. Ah dear, who would have thought? Utter fucking nonsense. And just before I go, here's the flight profile for a zero-G plane. And here's the flight profile for Richard Branson's space plane. It's exactly the same. Essentially, Richard Branson's space tourism charade is essentially a zero-G plane glammed up to go a little bit higher and provide a little bit longer in a zero-G environment. That's it.
Yeah, so I looked out the window and it was just, the view was just stunning. And just, it's very zen. It's very kind of peaceful up there as well. What jumped out at me were the colors and just how far away it looked as well. It felt like we were just so far up there. And I was just mesmerized for a good 30, 40 seconds. So it was amazing. And I was just mesmerized for a good 30, 40 seconds. A good 30, 40 seconds.
Space fantasy fanboys and fangirls have just received their latest damage control propaganda update from actor Richard Branson, where he claims to have gone to space and filmed the spinning ball Earth for us. But really, he just did some parabolic maneuvers, simulating free fall while in a fancy plane.
I see you clearly now. In my dreams, you're here with me somehow. Oh my God, I see you clearly now. In my dreams, you're here with me somehow. You're here with me somehow. Oh my God, I see you clearly now. In my dreams, you're here with me somehow.
Virgin Atlantic going to space. Everybody, you could buy a ticket. Wow, fantastic. Let's see. Where have we seen this before? Going into space. Let me see. Well, here's the X-15. So this is 1962. They came up with this plane, and they dropped it off of a B-52 bomber, and it shot up as high as 50 miles. So they said. The Kármán line, that line between Earth and space, is 60 miles. So they didn't even get to space. Now, are you telling me this Branson thing got higher than the X-15? I doubt it. That X-15 is an absolute rocket, right? And where else have we seen this before with Branson and all them floating around on their little silly airplane? How about right here? Vomit Comet. Remember this? All us flat earthers, we know what this is. This is how they probably filmed a lot of the early ISS footage, because they could float around for about 30 seconds uninterrupted. And who knows, the something like the X-15 can get a lot higher and can free fall longer, right? So maybe this Branson thing could have free fallen longer and gotten some longer footage. Sure. This also has to do with the Lagrange points. And how do I mean that? Now, I am going to do the reveal on the Lagrange point 1, the satellite footage of the Earth from 1 million miles out. Okay, so this ties in with the this supposed space fake that they're floating in space. First of all, let me just say, they're not floating in space. You're floating in an airplane. You're not in space. And so they're misleading people to think that they somehow reached space and they're floating around. No, according to NASA and their Lagrange points, you can't get to find a spot of equilibrium where you could just not be falling to the Earth. You have to go 1 million miles out, and you have to be between the Earth and the Sun in order to have this balance point. So when the Earth rotates around, you no longer have that balance point. Now you have the double pull of the Earth and the Sun pulling you toward the surface of the Earth, right, as you rotate around. So you can't reach this place where you're going to float around. This is a lie. All it is like going to the top of a roller coaster, and you roll down, and you get that queasy feeling in your stomach, and you're getting somewhat weightless. Maybe they can make you completely weightless falling down you could have a total free falling in an elevator, or free falling on a roller coaster, and you're essentially weightless. All right.
You see, people don't realize that every single thing that they do is actually part of pushing an agenda. And when celebrities come out and they get exposed for things like harassment and whatnot, it's all part of a plan to continue to suppress society, to get more restrictions placed on society, and to, of course, condition society into their behaviors and how they behave and how they act and how they want us to behave and to act. Well, one of the things that we've seen over the years with predictive programming, of course, has to do with space, right? Nothing more fake than space. NASA, which has been exposed 1 million times over, is never even going to the moon. But of course, we think of NASA, we think of space, we think of bullcrap, because that's all NASA's ever given. But one of the predictive programming things, and one of the things you're seeing rolled out right now in front of your face, is the whole alien deception, which I've talked about with Crowley, of course, showing you the gray. That's why we have the depiction of what an alien's supposed to look like from Aleister Crowley, speaking of demons, talking about Lam.
We apart from looking back at our beautiful Earth, we saw a number of different aliens out there. One of them hitched a lift on the top of the spaceship. Before we came back into the Earth's it rattles a lot as you come back into the Earth's atmosphere. And I think you managed to throw them off, didn't you, Dave?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't
So we left the alien up there, but But maybe next time we'll open the door and we'll bring them back.
So we have that, the releasing of the documents from the CIA, and at the same time we have all of these celebrities who are supposedly these rich people, not celebrities, but they're rich. And you could say they're influencers because remember, there are people who look up and worship these celebrities, and then there's people who are like, oh, I don't care what, Tom, they tell you that they don't care, but they do, what Tom Cruise and so is doing, but they care about these people, the rich people, because they go, well, I aspire to be an entrepreneur and a rich billionaire like, oh, Bezos, and the guy who owns Virgin, Brunson, right? And they go, oh man, and what a coincidence that they're just both going to space at the same time. Now, you might say they're going up each other's, they're probably going to go to Uranus and see each other, but in reality, they're not going anywhere. Maybe to the middle of northern Canada, somewhere where there's nothing, where they can find some red rock and tell you they're on Mars. But take a look at the predictive programming here. These rich people suddenly going to space at the same time. Meanwhile, have we ever been back to the moon that we supposedly went to once in the first place? And this isn't something new because we've seen predictive programming in cartoons like The Simpsons, Family Guy. We've seen predictive program movies where celebrities go to space. We've seen them talk about it, hint at it. Oh, celebrities going to space. Why do you think that is? Because the influencers are going to come out and play the lie. Oh, the rich and the famous get to go to space so that everyone else wants to go to space, even though they can't go to space, but they'll believe that the whole space thing is actually real and aliens are actually real. Thus, the deception is coming. But here are celebrities giving you a little predictive programming.
Wow, there's Bill Gates, Stephen Hawking, Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, Michelle Kwan. They must be starting a new civilization on Mars with our best and brightest.
And these idiots believe this stuff with space. There's no proof that anyone's been there except a few photographs and the pictures that NASA brings back, which couldn't be more poorly done. But that's part of the whole point. They give you these horrible effects from NASA, right, trying to pretend it's real. They're laughing at it because they can't even believe that people are buying this stuff. The elites laugh at this stuff. They're cracking up over the one-niner and what they're getting away with and how people are believing something's here that's not even here. They're dying of laughter. They're realizing that the mind control that they've put on, passed through generation, and generation, is now so thick on these people that they can do whatever they want, show them whatever they want. So they have the celebrities going up into space. I mean, do they even admit to any of these astronauts going into space and going back to the moon right? No, but the celebrities are just heading up. They're heading up and then I guess they're coming back down. Because most rocket ships, they actually go up and land in the ocean, by the way, if you're not familiar with what actually happens. Or should I say just crash into the ocean, almost like one of those toys that you get, those toy rockets that kids shoot up into the air and then they just come flying back down at another location and crash. Pretty much it. Virgin Galactic is the first human spaceflight company ever to list on the New York Stock Exchange. This is a list of the people who have paid $250,000. It doesn't seem like a lot if you think about it, right? These people have like $5 million homes. $250,000 to go to space doesn't seem like a lot of money because they probably want to make it seem like, oh, it's not too expensive so common people can go. The celebrities are the first on the list, of course. So Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Bieber, no Satanists there, exposed both. DiCaprio, of course, his connections speaking at the UN because we care so much what he says, always with Greta Thunberg, talking about global warming and other scam artists. Justin Bieber, of course, I mean, this speaks for itself. James Cameron, the director, wow. Rihanna, that's what the world needs. Rihanna and Katy Perry will be going to space, of course, so if there are aliens, I guess if they bleed anything, their ears will bleed as well. This is just scam. And at the same time, Jeff Bezos and Brunson, they're all going on big space adventures for the summer. Meanwhile, they're not going anywhere, and anything they film and show you as space is just done right here on Earth. That's right. Sorry to burst your bubble.
And he had 2 horns like a lamb.
Only qualitative beats.
But at a certain point, it was like, all right, this is enough.
Yeah.
2 horns.
This is enough.
Yeah.
VK.com/placebo.
This is enough.
Yeah.
2 horns like a lamb.
This is enough.
Yeah.
2 horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon. A dragon. 2 horns as a dragon.
This is enough.
Yeah.
A dragon.
Only qualitative beats.
This is enough.
Yeah.
A dragon.
So I think it matters. I do. I think the individual matters above all. And if they can destroy one person, they can destroy everyone. I know nothing but what you just told me, but I think you make a really compelling case. I love that you care. And I'm really glad that you came on tonight. Rose McGowan, thank you very much.
This is enough.
Yeah.
The people, the monsters in power that control the puppet, not just her.
This is enough.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done. Definitely would have.
What did you see from space?
It's really actually far more gentle and quiet and calm than any of the Hollywood movies would lead you to believe. The first time you turn and get up out of your seat a little bit and look out the window when you're in space, of course, the first thing that caught my eye was the curve of the Earth, curve of the Earth.
The world is so generously beautiful. And you see it in a whole new way. You can see for thousands of miles in each direction. And you can see the curvature of our planet. And the reality of where we all live suddenly becomes part of who you are. You can see for thousands of miles in each direction. And you can see the curvature of our planet.
A dziś są przecież samoloty, z których widać krzywiznę.
We've been to space, everybody!
Oh my God.
This is unbelievable. This is too unbelievable.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
course, the first thing that caught my eye was the curve of the Earth.
Look, shall we? Richard Branson goes to space. Space travel for the bewildered and deluded. Let me have a wee look-see here. I'm only going to be on shot just to have a wee laugh at them and their desperation.
To all you kids down there, I was once a child with a dream, looking up to the stars. Now I'm an adult in a spaceship with lots of other wonderful adults.
You're a fucking liar, Richard. You're a liar, son.
Beautiful, beautiful Earth. To the next generation of dreamers, if we can do this.
Oh, where did the curve of the Earth go? Oh no! What's happened here? Wait a wee minute. Where did all that curvature go?
This, just imagine what you can do. Hey!
Hey, we're a bunch of clowns. Oh, look, we're floating. We're in space. Star Trek and all that good stuff. Let's hear.
Is going to be that view.
Let's hear this one.
And the most amazing thing is going to be that view out the window when they see the curvature of the Earth. They're going to watch.
When you see the curvature of the Earth at 46,000 feet, how high is it they're actually going again? Anyhow, what about things like this? 121,000 feet. No seen any curvature. Doesn't exist.
The sky turn from blue to black. They're going to see the thinness of the atmosphere. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
They're going to see the thinness of the atmosphere. It's going to be absolutely incredible.
Colonel.
You know, we're looking at a horizon here. Now, a horizon's an optical phenomena. It's not a physical thing. I'm sure many of you know that. So if you're at ground level, we're now at 46,000 feet. I've pointed this out before. You don't get humps between you and an observer standing at a funny angle on a drawing, as a globe believer would have you believe. You look levelled and straight out, right? Now they're going to tell you that you can see curvature of the Earth when you're standing on the ground, and ships going over the curvature and blah 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 blah. If that was the case, if you're standing on the ground and I grant them say 12 to 15 miles, we'll be generous, and a ship's obscured by the humpy water of the curvature of the Earth stuff, then what should happen there? It's a geometric fact, okay? When you're dealing with solid-bodied objects. If that was the curvature of the Earth in front of you at 15 miles, as you elevate up, the curvature of the Earth would be away down here. Away down, you'd be looking down the way, down, along a slope, sloping down from your position in every direction. Know this, that is a geometric impossibility. Stop being lazy, people. The only thing you need to do is pay attention to slopes and hills. And as you elevate above those slopes and hills, notice that the floor of the slope or the hill does not rise or appear to rise in front of your eyes.
These space virgins, just like NASA, SpaceX, the Red Bull dive, and all other so-called official sources, always suspiciously choose to use a fisheye lens, causing the horizon to constantly and radically warp from convex to flat to concave. As the camera tilts relative to the horizon, the ends warp up or down respectively, but when held still and level, the horizon is flat. As the normal back camera shows, the horizon actually remains perfectly flat and rises to the eye level of the camera all the way up. If the Earth was actually a globe, no matter how large, the surface of the globe would curve downwards in all directions away from the observer, causing them to necessarily tilt their heads down more and more the further they ascended to be able to see the horizon. In reality, which is only consistent with rising over a flat plane, the horizon rises along with the observer and remains precisely at eye level for the entire ascent. This trick is apparent both in Branson's trip this week as well as Baumgartner's Red Bull dive from several years ago. The fisheye lens cameras show a constantly warping horizon, which was already curving the picture at ground level, the very same amount of so-called Earth curve that it showed at 128,000 feet just before diving. The trick is given away, however, when they switch to the regular non-fisheye lens camera inside the craft, which shows a perfectly flat horizon, still perfectly at eye level, while hovering over 20 miles above a supposed globe. Do you see something wrong with this picture? If you do, then welcome to the truth of your hoaxed reality. If you don't, then enjoy watching these terrible slack-jawed actors with their mouths gaping wide open at how ridiculously gullible you sheeple are.
Aging entrepreneur Richard Branson got it up one more time when he joined the 50 Mile High Club with his Virgin Fireball on Sunday, ushering in the age of space tourism. For the cost of a family home in suburbia, you too can get taken for a ride by the billionaire and pretend to be an astronaut for 3 minutes as you free fall from the edge of space with a view of an infinite horizon from the highest roller coaster ride above plain Earth.